going to be getting into hurricane victims and what they're witnessing while we're busy distracted by the election. And another example of government can't and won't protect you. But if you've got a bow and arrow to protect your house, they're going to arrest you. If you drive to the nearby state to get cans of gas for your neighbors and deliver it to your neighbors, not even selling it, you're going to go to jail. If you try to help anybody, you're going to go to jail. Government's still out writing tickets, generating revenue with pleasure. Churches are trying as best they can to feed and clothe people as usual. Government's working as best it can to abolish churches and turn them into government 501c3 charities. That's all coming up. Incredible videos contained in the article by Paul Joseph Watson. Threats to riot by Obama supporters reaches crescendo. We're going to be going over all that. Now, on Friday, we had some callers who were in New Jersey and in New York. It was 3 or 4 of them left on the line when the show ended who wanted to tell what they'd seen and what's happening. That was 4 days into it, 5 days into it. We're now 7 days into millions and millions of people in New Jersey, New York without power, looting, intensifying, you name it. Media keeping it as quiet as they can because they don't want it to be an election issue. We're going to be breaking all that down. The toll-free number to join us on air, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Now, if you go up to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, we have Infowars Nightly News every night at 7 o'clock. But we're going to have tomorrow a free video feed. The audio feeds are always free, but we couldn't pay to have free video feeds all the time. It costs me sometimes $15,000 to stream free video because if you get, 800,000 people over a day logging in, I mean, it's a big bill, even if you buy it in bulk. But we are going to have free video feeds tomorrow at 11 a.m. to 2 in the Listen Live area. If you just click the big mega banners at the top of Infowars.com that show Mitt Romney and Obama as puppets, you click on that, it'll take you to a page that has a video box. In fact, we ought to just start having that stream today. Just get people used to it so folks can send that link out. I'll tell the IT guys to go ahead and fire that video link up today. And then starting tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, 12 noon Eastern, during the show, it'll be a live feed. The audio feeds will be carrying it as well. And then 5 to midnight, we'll have live election coverage for Infowars Nightly News, free to everybody. We're going to have Gerald Celente on, then Max Kaiser, Wayne Madsen, Paul Craig Roberts, Lou Rockwell, Naomi Prinz, Webster Tarpley, and others. David Icke, by the way, is on tomorrow in the middle of the show. We got Jesse Ventura for the aftermath of the election on Wednesday. So that is all coming up here. And I want to ask everybody to go to Infowars.com. The whole top of the site now looks like a stage because it's puppets on it. Click that. It takes you to the page with a short blurb that Kurt Nemo put together with the free video feed. And that's the link to have. You go to Infowars.com, click here to watch. You click on that, and you get the link, and it goes out to everybody so that everybody has that link. And by the way, radio stations out there, I know you'll be carrying Fox and CNN and AP radio and stuff. Anytime you want to just hear something you like during live election coverage, our affiliates out there, you are more than welcome to go and grab the high-fidelity audio feeds we're going to have with all these big guests, or you're welcome to cut any excerpts out and play it on your news with the people like Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former head of the Treasury Department and Policy, Lou Rockwell, Ron Paul's former chief of staff, Naomi Prinz, Webster Tarpley, Gerald Celente, and many others. By the way, Ron Paul, it was nice to get contacted by Ron Paul. Usually we do the other way. Last week we got contacted via Lou Rockwell for Ron Paul saying, hey, he wants to come on the show. So that's this Friday coming up in the aftermath of the election. Ron Paul hadn't been on a while. He was so busy with the campaign, I didn't want to wear him out. So Ron Paul is going to be on the show as well. All right, stay with us. Your calls are coming up.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We are back live, ladies and gentlemen, another hour of the Alex Jones Show, and I am your host, Alex Jones. It is the day before the elections, the eve of the elections, and we're going to be here, I don't know, like 10 hours tomorrow total, maybe longer. I'm going to go until midnight Central tomorrow, and then whoever wants to, from our great crew, David Knight, David Ortiz, Jakari Jackson, Melissa Melton, Darren McBreen, John Bound, Aaron Dykes, Paul Watson, and so many others here of our great reporters. Dan Badani's coming back today from visiting family in Rhode Island. He went through the storm. He'll be here as well. Of all our great reporters, Rob Dew, they're all going to, we'll probably have some roundtables after all the guests and stuff tomorrow. Anyways, I've just got that on my mind. I just can't wait to see what comes out of this giant puppet event, because you've got election fraud by both sides. You've got no doubt. Well, I'm going to talk about this more in the next segment after some calls. I mean, I cannot believe. Will you guys cue up the Michael Moore and then the other clip? Bill Maher, yeah, and Aaron just found more clips of serious demonstrators for Obama saying we want abortion to get rid, basically, of the ugly black kids. Black people saying this. And I've actually had black people tell me this repeatedly. I've had white people say it about black. It's so sick that the left is not the left at all. They are a bunch of monsters. They are a bunch of the pie is one size. We want socialism. We want to pull everybody down, and we want to abort people. He was just showing me this footage. What made me so mad about it is I saw it weeks ago and didn't even play it on air because it's so horrible. We're going to have to bleep that out and then tie it in with the other doctor saying, you know, we're going to abort all the ugly black babies. And I'm not trying to just get off into this all day. Every time I'm around the so-called left, all they talk about is killing babies and how great it is and how they love death. I mean, I can play Bill Maher saying he loves death because they're eugenicists, and even their minions are eugenicists. The victims of it sit around getting into it. And I guess it's the old thing, if you can't beat them, join them. I, for one, have had enough of these people. And then I wish there was an alternative in Mitt Romney. But I'm not dumb enough to sit there and be suckered by it. But still, at a subconscious level, you want to hit the reset button. Come on, change something. I hope Obama changes it all. He did what I thought he'd do. Come on, Romney, change it, but he won't. Because we've gotten lazy and we've let corrupt people run everything. Tommy, from Friday, we got his number and called him back because we didn't get to him on air. He's in New York. Man, 7 days without power in many areas. How are you faring? What can you tell us?
I'm actually pretty good. I have a couple locations. I was down in the East Village where that power plant blew up. I don't know if you saw the video online. I'm about like 3 or 4 blocks away from that. And
wow.
It was really, 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 really crazy. I mean, the East River, the ocean was coming right down Avenue C and Avenue D. People did not leave their homes. People were not prepared, and they all got flooded out. So, I mean, it was definitely shocking to see that in the place that, you know, people were not expecting it.
Have you seen the reports of police arresting people trying to defend their homes and arresting people that try to bring gasoline to their neighbors?
Yeah, I've seen those reports, and actually I want to speak on that too. Like, first of all, like, I expected, I'm a listener, I'm actually a Prison Planet subscriber, and I expected an exercise of martial law. That was the first thing I thought was going to happen. And at first it seemed that way because they put in bridge restrictions, and there was the gas shortages, and they closed the ports.
You know what? I want to hear this all after the break. Stay there. I'm going to come back and give you the floor. Tommy in New York. Okay, you going to hold?
Yeah, man, I'll hold for you.
Okay, great. Put him on hold. I don't want to cut him short. I always do that. We're going to come back to Tommy. Then we're going to go to Bill, Michael, CJ, Chet. Chet's in New York, and others. We'll go to Chet after we talk to Tommy first. But we got open phones, not just folks on the East Coast. But we will give preferential, you know, head of the line if you've got a report for us. Because we're going to talk about what's happened. They're talking about postponing the election.
While we fight to retain our liberty, while we fight to expose globalism, we have to realize we're talking about a very powerful combination of power.
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen breaks down the globalist plan to shut down America and stage a new world war.
In one day, America will go from day to night. And if you haven't prepared in advance, there's not enough time to prepare in 24 hours, even if you saw it that early.
Coming to the InfoWar in November is our new documentary film presentation.
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Joel Skousen, Strategic Relocation.
The freeways are going to be crowded, they're going to run out of gasoline, they're going to run out of food, and then they're going to start to go north and south of those freeways.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
We talk about natural disasters, the health environment, we talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states.
Government is digging in for the organized, incremental collapse of society and world war.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come. Most people won't even be ready and won't be able to get out of town when any of these nuclear weapons fall, because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy.
What I tell people is that you do have time. Prepare wisely in advance.
This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. Continuing, I called the video Breaking Mitt Romney Elected 45th President. And then I go on to say, no, he hasn't been. But then I show Democrats with just hundreds of articles out there saying, Obama's going to win, landslide, there's no way he can lose, 85%, New York Times with their little push poll. The bookies in Europe and England and Ireland and the U.S. are already paying out on Obama. And my point is that's the attempt to create a foregone conclusion. And the only reason I tend to get even more concerned about 4 years of Obama is because he's not facing re-election. He'll have the power of the pardon. He'll have the power of the executive order unbridled, which he's shown he'll do more than any other president. And I'm not naive. I know it's because we're further down the rat hole now in the New World Order. That's why each president gets worse than the last. But I hoped Obama would turn out to be good. I didn't support him. I didn't support John McCain. I knew John McCain was throwing that election. I knew that was the equivalent of a Don King boxing match, as phony as a $3 bill. And I said that at the time. Joe Farah wrote that at the time for WorldNet Daily, saying, none of the above. Wrote a book called that. But with this Obama thing, I mean, saying small businesses didn't build it, that they're going to shut down the coal power plants, that they're going to take the handguns and rifles. I mean, even though I know Romney's bad, man, when Obama is saying he's coming for my guns, when Obama is saying he's going to put the military completely under the UN and NATO. Me and my wife have sat around. My wife was this morning, and you know, she is somebody raised a Democrat. You know, she's been a patriot for about 15, 16 years since I woke her up. Smart lady, but she's sitting there going, man, I want to leave the country if Obama gets reelected. I'm telling you. Because, you know, we have those discussions every day. Do we get out of here? And it's like, well, we don't, I mean, where are we going to go? Everywhere is under the New World Order. And they're making laws, even where post-tax money, you can't get it out of the country. I mean, they don't want to, folks, this country's going into tyranny. And I just said, well, look, it's going to be bad if Romney gets in too, and we got to just stand and fight. But, I mean, it's down to around my breakfast table at 7 a.m. while drinking a cup of Joe with my wife every day. Every day I'm having to say, no, we're going to stay. And you know what? Even if they end up rounding us up and putting us in prison or killing us, I mean, I guess you can call it a wrong decision, but I don't think it's a wrong decision to stay and speak out against this. But I want listeners to understand, this is not a game. I'm not saying this for hyperbole, okay? You know, my wife's got a degree in history and English. She got a special degree via UT in Normandy, France. I have been a history buff. I've studied geopolitical systems, and I've interviewed scores of constitutional lawyers and historians from across the political spectrum who say, yes, we're going into hot, dangerous, evil tyranny. And a lot of people say, well, then I'm just going to cower and try to go along with the system. No. Historically, that is what will get us destroyed. That's like if you see a grizzly bear walking along at Yellowstone Park and you run from it, even if it isn't hungry, even if it just ate a elk, and it's dragging its belly, it's going to chase you down and going to kill you, probably. 90+% chance, they say. I've even read a book on bears, very interesting, people that have dealt with them. You run, your dinner. I mean, everybody knows that about dogs. Some big dog comes up to you on the street and starts acting like it's going to, bite you. If you run, it's going to bite you. You've got to say, hey, get your dog under control, pal. Sometimes it's a punk, and they go, hey, what's your problem? And you just got to tell them, I'm going to stomp your head right now. I'll stomp you. I mean, you got to deal with punks out there. But the point is that I'm certainly not going to run from it and get attacked. And we got to face this head on. And all of you that work for the system, listen, if you don't know history and you can make excuses about what's going on, when the Supreme Court set the rule that they can come in your house without warrants if a police dog smells something, or that they can put cameras in your backyard without telling you, without a warrant, or put GPS on your car without a warrant, or pull you over and download your cell phone content saying it's not your personal belongings when it's as intimate as it gets. I'm going to stop right there and go to your calls, Tommy and others. We're going to get to all of this, but, I did this video that's gone viral. It's going viral. Breaking: Mitt Romney elected 45th president. It's up on our big YouTube channel. Get it out to everybody because it just points out how both sides are trying to act like, Romney's already acting like he's the president. Obama's been acting presidential, running around with the whole hurricane situation. And quite frankly, there's so much fraud. I don't even know if the establishment knows who's going to get in. That's why they just made sure they had both guys already bought and paid for. And it does mean different styles. At least Mitt Romney says churches shouldn't have to pay for abortions for their employees. At least Mitt Romney says, and see, I say that because I feel immoral if I don't say at least Romney has to pay lip service to good things. But a lot of people that think the government's their mommy and their daddy and feel powerful through government, through that extension, through that reflected glory, they really think abortion's a beautiful, wonderful thing. They really think of forced inoculation's a great thing. They really, I run into these people. They are so pathetic. And those that love government are always so pathetically naive and weak. They really think the government, the man, wants to give them a free lunch. And a lot of them do get a free lunch, but towards a greater takeover. Towards a greater destruction of society. Government independency wrecks civilizations. The facts are in over and over again on that. Okay, I'm going to shut up. Let's go to Tommy in New York. Tommy, give us your report on where you are in New York and what you've witnessed and what's happening.
Okay, so I'm currently in the East Village, also known as Alphabet City, which is where probably the most devastation in New York and Manhattan happened. I also visited. I'm only going to speak on what I've seen personally, and then what I'm also hearing from residents and other places. I've been to Long Island, and I've been all over Manhattan, and basically, like, part of the city is completely fine and doesn't even know what's going on down here and are going about their daily lives as if nothing's happened. Meanwhile, other people are struggling very, 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 very severely, especially in places like Staten Island, Long Beach, Long Island, all the way down to Barrier Beaches, Rockaways in Queens, Breezy Point, which is actually a very upper class neighborhood, was destroyed, burned by fires. 130 homes burned. You know, it's a very big spectrum between like parts of the city. And like I said, I was expecting an exercise of martial law, but that's not exactly what I saw, Alex. I want to kind of go against some of the reports that you guys are talking about. What I've seen more than anything is in people helping each other. I've really seen neighbors really going out, collecting food, going into the projects over here. The projects is the government housing in the neighborhoods nearby, and knocking on doors, making sure elderly are okay, bringing them food. There was people with bicycles, with bicycle-powered generators, trying to make cell phone plug-in spots for people. You know, I haven't seen too much FEMA. I've only seen like one maybe government truck around here in Manhattan, and it's basically been neighbors helping each other. And as I said before, there were bridge restrictions initially, and you know, the gas shortage. Immediately, I thought, "Wow, martial law! Here it is. They're gonna try it." But to be honest with you, I think that it was all really practical what they did. Like when they opened up the bridges the next day, there was such bad gridlock, and there were no street lights, so they couldn't, like, people just couldn't get places where they needed to go. So they created a bridge restriction, and then they lifted it. The bridge restriction was 3 people per car. You couldn't get in or out of Manhattan unless you had more than one person with you. And that was really, really hard.
Sure, listen, brother, that's why we opened the phones up unscreened from New York and New Jersey to get your take. But let me just be specific. I'm reporting on Jersey Shore in their press release calling it martial law. I didn't mean martial law in your area of Manhattan. When you have, what is it, 500,000 people a year being stopped and frisked without warrants, that's martial law. My point is that this could be used to postpone the election, which they're now talking about postponing or extending it. And actually, if you were listening during the first hour, I said it's the churches and the citizens and the people that were prepared that are taking care of people. Government can't and won't protect you and isn't delivering. I have a whole stack of news here. So just to be clear, that's my position from afar. We've got you on to give us human intelligence on the ground. But correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, FEMA isn't doing anything as usual, and it's the people that are maintaining civilization. Is that a correct statement?
From my view, absolutely. I've not seen FEMA really anywhere around my neighborhood. And my mother, actually, who's in Long Island, who just got power yesterday, she called them and she had no avail. What ended up happening is I had to drive to Pennsylvania to get gas and a generator, and I brought it. If you look at a map, it's like it's about 100 miles or so, 50 in each direction. I went all the way to Pennsylvania, got gas, brought it all the way to Long Island, tried to deliver it, and what I noticed is like people are just very grossly unprepared, and neighbors are helping each other, not the government.
Yeah, that's the big news here. What percentage of people, in closing, would you say are totally unprepared? Half?
Yeah, I would say more than half, actually.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done's been right.
Alex Jones here, back live. We're going to try to race through some of your calls now, and then I'm going to get into a story linked up at drudgereport.com, by naturalnews.com. Baltimore announces citywide surveillance rollout that records passenger conversations on city buses. This has already happened all over the country. They're now just admitting it. And I'm so busy, and now it's so passé that we lived in a police state so long that even I'm conditioned that I've confirmed they're putting up microphones inside, and cameras in some of them, inside streetlights in Austin. I've confirmed it, and I haven't even gone out to do a report yet. I mean, that's when you know you're living in tyranny, where it's not even a big deal anymore. Unbelievable. And again, it's not for your safety. Let's get that through your head. They haven't converted some police departments over to pure evil yet, but they're trying. Let's go ahead and go to Chet in New York. Then we'll go to Bill and others. Chet in New York, what are you seeing up there?
All right, my friend. How are you, Mr. Jones and
Good.
crew?
Good. Thank you for calling.
First, my prayers go out to gentlemen like Tom and everyone on the coast there. Up here in Naziville, we're at the southwestern shore of Lake Ontario.
Yes.
And all we had was like a storm surge on the lake and some high winds. My daughter and her husband went down to the lake because they live close to the lake, and they were just kind of riding around because they, like being outside. That's how I grew them up, and they're just watching the waves, which were pretty high. So the Nazi stormtroopers show up, and they tell them they have to leave the area. This is along the North Greece Road, is what it's called up here in New York, and so even this far. Because my son-in-law, he goes, well, why are you asking us to leave? We're just watching the waves. He goes, no, there's going to be a disaster here, which of course there wasn't. We've been up there so long.
See, again, government where it's really bad, like Katrina or there in Manhattan, Staten Island and places just devastated. Government can't do anything. And then, but instead though, where nothing's going on, they can run around and say, get out of here, when it's pretty clear a guy's sitting there with his girlfriend or wife or whatever, checking stuff out. You don't want a couple's out, by the lake, because it is neat. I mean, I grew up in Dallas on Lake Ray Hubbard, and we used to go down, my dad, mom, and us, and watch. We didn't live on the lake. We lived up the hill. We'd go down by the park and watch the waves slamming in. It was pretty cool. But the point is that, but then you see their perspective, hey, let's just get everybody off the streets, because they were told it was the end of the world. So, it's a complex issue, but I'm just glad people weren't hurt or killed in your area.
Amen, brother. I was just trying to give that perspective from, this far, inland. That's what they were doing. And I know in Manhattan, of course, and in New Jersey, it's a terrible mess. But then you had, Governor Christie coming out as a thug, basically.
He banned Halloween so he could have all the candy bars sent to him.
Probably, and then you had, Mr. Bumbleberg going, hey, let's have a race, and I'm glad people stood up to him also, where, we're just, I know you guys are all happy, nothing worse happened on that end, but we know the end run on that one is what you said earlier, that they're trying to steer the election. That's definitely in that game plan of theirs, and like I've always said, my friend, that, people ask, when is the New World Order coming?
It already got here.
We're already living it.
No, that's it. We're already in the pot being boiled. The question is, how high is the flame? Real quick, who do you think is going to win the election tomorrow?
I'm pretty sure, Mr. Jones, it's going to be Romney. I think the fix-in is for the count.
Not old Bumbles, huh?
Because he already kicked out. Big Bird is out, Oh, Bumbles, he's going under the bus. Well, and when you were talking about the bookies and everything.
In fact, I meant to make this point about the bookies. They're up there saying it's so scientific. If they're throwing $6 billion at this election, the New York Times is saying, so who knows if that's even true. It's over $3 billion. They're saying it could be $6 billion when it's all done. If they're throwing billions of dollars at this, you can go shift these bets with a few $1 million just so they can say that it's going, 4-1 Obama. But I mean, make your point about the bookies. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. No, I love you talking about it. Well, when I was a young man, I know sometimes you talk about you and your buddies with the golf carts and taking a little bit of beer from people.
Yeah.
Well, when I was a young fellow, I used to like to gamble, and I'm up here in Rochester, which is a stronghold, for the mafia and stuff. So I knew after nightclubs and all that stuff, play a little cards, this and that. But the thing is, once they put the fix in to where they give you that one that's supposed to win, that's the one that's not going to win. That's how gamblers work.
Every 4 years, the United States of America hears the drumbeat of billions of campaign dollar attack ads, meaningless debate with empty analysis and poll after poll after poll. This can only mean one thing. It's time to pick our globalist puppet leader.
We're going to be left with a choice of a lesser of two evils. And I'm saying I don't go out with evils. I don't deal with evils. I don't do business with evils. I don't hang out with evils. Why would I vote for an evil to run my life or run my country?
Will it be globalist puppet A or puppet B?
They continue to vote for these Democrats and Republicans, the people that are wrecking our country, and yet they still vote for them.
Unlike North Korea and China, we Americans have the illusion of choice this November 6th.
I think that a lot of votes are going to be stolen.
I don't know how you could possibly have voter fraud when your son owns the voting machines.
1.4 million votes were lost, spoiled as they call them in the biz, through these so-called glitches.
The choice is not up to you. Which management team from Slavery Incorporated will run our country into oblivion for the next 4 years? Tune in to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.tv this Tuesday, November 6th, as another meaningless pageant is played out.
I'm Alex Jones. I want my country. I want my freedom back. I want the government off my back, and I want the global corporations that are conquering us through economic espionage exposed and then defeated. I want the constitutional republic returned. Okay, I'm going to try to go to as many calls as I can now because I need to get to a bunch of news, some military news, police state news, election news, the Democrats openly engaging in race baiting and trying to get conflict going. Unbelievably despicable. All of that is coming up. Bill in Florida, listening on WTAN 1340 AM. Bill, thank you for calling.
Alex, I have two issues. Let's hit the first one, and I'll hit the second one. First issue is it's been on the news that Mitt Romney's son, Tag, is invested heavily in the voting machines of Ohio, okay? And they said also Colorado, but I know Ohio for sure. And I've heard that on mainstream news media, and then my buddy looked it up on the computer. He says, sure enough, it's true.
Yeah, well, it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. It's a subsidiary of Bain, so it's not completely true, but it's partially true.
That's very troubling. And my opinion on that is I think the fix is in, and Romney's going to be the next president. Okay, that the fix is in. Okay, my next point, we got another battery company on the verge of bankruptcy, Alex, and there's a guy been going on all the internet and all the radio shows trying to pump this thing up, and they did a 1-for-5 reverse stock split 2 Fridays ago. Their CFO walked off the job. They're selling off their company left and right, and they're trying to pump the stock up. And if you guys own it, get the hell out of it. It's CBAK. It's China.
Well, here's the deal. I don't know anything about batteries and stocks, and I don't want to even be anywhere near pump and dumps or whatever is going on. So I can't really speak to that because I know nothing about it.
Alex, it's CBAK. It trades on our NASDAQ, and it's a shame. Okay?
Well, I mean, I know the globalists do everything they can. God bless you, sir. Anything else? I have a point I want to make on this.
No, I just want to say, God help us tomorrow. Here's my big problem with Romney, and he's been pounding his chest from day one about going to war with Iran, okay? And I heard a guy last night talking, a guest on another show, and he was saying that he surrounded himself with all the Bush-Cheney people, from the John Boltons to the one that exposed Valerie Plame. He's got all these neocons surrounding him, and they all want to go to war with Iran, and that's what's very troubling. That's the one reason why I don't want him in there, Alex, because he wants to go to war with Iran, and we can't afford it.
No, I hear you. I hear you, but Obama is moving that way as well. So, I mean, we're darned if we do, and you know what if we don't. Thank you for the call. Yeah, I've got it somewhere in this ridiculous stack. Can you guys document cam this? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Got 25 stacks here. 25 stacks of news. And that way, when I read it all and go over it, I can have knowledge when you call in on topics. But it doesn't mean we ever get to about 10% of it here on air. But here's the issue. I saw an article and then even found the video. Bill Clinton is now giving speeches saying Mitt Romney is, quote, coming for the Irish. I mean, this is unbelievable. And again, I guess just where I come from in Texas, I never heard anything about the Irish. I'm part Irish myself, but everybody around here, if they're, quote, Anglos, a Heinz 57, German, Czech, Irish, English, Scottish, French. It's like the whole 9 yards. My ancestors have been in this country over 300 plus years, and there's been a lot of intermarrying and stuff going on. But Bill Clinton literally going, listen, I am Irish, as you know, and he was bashing the Italians. Mitt Romney is going after the Italians. And Bill Clinton is now attacking Mitt Romney for saying we shouldn't ship Jeep to Italy, as if it has anything to do with being anti-Italian. If you don't, hey, how about we keep Jeep right here so that Americans, whether they're come from any background, Italian, black, I mean, I don't care, can have a job. And our bailout money to GM and Chrysler and all of this has been used to ship Cadillac and Volt and then Chrysler division Jeep overseas. First it was going to go to China, then it was going to go to Chinese parts and then assembled in Italy. Look, Italy makes great cars, motorcycles, mopeds, sunglasses, clothes. I love Italian stuff. Mangia. From Italian food right up and down the block. And it just shows this new total racial thing the Democrats do. I will guarantee you, and I'm not defending Mitt Romney, I'm defending reality, to say that Mitt Romney is bashing the Italians, that he came out and said, don't ship Jeep to Italy. It was in the news 2 weeks ago that Jeep, they're looking, and the Chrysler execs confirmed, moving it to China or Italy, and now they're settling on parts from China assembled in Italy. I mean, can we have something for America? I mean, and it turns into racism? Racism against Italians, that we don't want Jeep going to Italy? And that bailout money has had General Motors ship Cadillac and Volt to China? I mean, I want China to have a future. I care about the Chinese people. They're not going to get a future working at slave labor levels. That's just going to lower our future. Many Chinese are worse off than they were a few decades ago. If you're the top communist Chinese, they're billionaires and people making money off of enslaving the people with suicide nets around the Apple factories. By the way, every time I mention suicide nets, people call me or email me or on the street go, I thought you were making that up about suicide nets and forced abortions at the Apple factories, the Apple contractor factories. I went and looked that up. That's true. Yeah, they got mobile execution vans, too, in China in every city, 24 per major city. Don't believe me, just type in suicide van. Not suicide vans, execution vans. Guys, type in execution vans China. It'll be AP, Reuters. Photos of them choking women, dragging them into them to gut them. Rich Americans fly in and get the, quote, fresh organs. You know, the point is that when you let China go to this low level, it sucks the whole world down. Globalism is a giant sucking sound, like Ross Perot said. And boy, was he right about NAFTA and GATT. Boy, howdy was he. But, I mean, I saw that video this morning. And I meant to send it to you guys. I didn't. There it is, China's high-tech death van where criminals are executed and then our organs are sold on the black market. That's from March of 2009. It was first in the Financial Times of London a year before that. Yeah, there he is being led on to be killed. I mean, you can't make this up. If you find the Times of London one, it's got him choking a woman with a rope around her neck as they drag her in. I mean, the point is, the mass cloning's going on. They use babies for rendering plants of dead babies they forcibly abort that then is put into collagen for women's products. Heaven help us. Because when we write off China, or when they say, oh, it's building their economy up. No, it's not. It's a race to the bottom. The Chinese, I went and saw a movie that I want to review because it's got some good things in it, some bad things. I believe the makers, the Wachowski brother and sister, I believe that they are good people. I know people that know them, and they say they've seen my films and listened to the show some. So if you're out there, Wachowskis, we'd like to have you on. But I went and saw Cloud Atlas with my wife, and, you know, it's all about human liberty and empowering humanity. Some of it I think is negative, but I think it comes from a perspective where they really do want to liberate people. And I'm not going to blow the plot of the film for you, but it deals with a future where we're dehumanized biological androids. Well, folks, when you see the drones going in to be rendered in this movie and fed back to the other drones, Soylent Green, that's what's really going on, but in a more sophisticated system. Through the hospitals, where they steal the wealth, the energy you've stored up, through the cancer industry. That's why I don't like Lance Armstrong, all the things I know about him, because family's known him, and I have multiple connections to Lance Armstrong. Just I live here in Austin and just happen to fall in with people that have been, you know, very close to him, you know, best friends with his wife, people like that, his ex-wife. And I knew what a bad person he was, but so what? He's a bad, arrogant, chauvinist, narcissistic, guy. That's his issue. Bigger they are, the harder they fall. It's just frustrating that I got him through two separate people that I knew him well, got him information on cancer viruses and vaccine, the cancer industry. Hey, why don't we find the cause instead of the cure? And it was just all about him getting tax-free money. And that I was told to go to hell by both people. That they brought it to him, caring listeners, one guy that was on a board with him, another person that knows him intimately. They bring it to Lance Armstrong, and he goes, Alex Jones, I'm not even looking at what that conspiracy bleeper says. But, hey, this is about let's find the cause, not the cure. And he didn't want to hear any of it. And because I literally dream about having the type of power that Lance Armstrong had. But see, he was typecast and chosen by the establishment to be their front man because they knew who he was. They helped him cheat in the cycling associations. That's come out. And then now they're destroying him because that's part of the ritual. Build up the hero, destroy it, so you think there's nobody really good in the world. They want to sell you on giving up and being corrupt. Well, let me just explain something. I'm no hero, but I'm real. I try to only promote what I believe is the best products and that I feel good promoting that I personally use to fund my operation and still feel guilty doing it. I try to tell you the truth. I try to really get reality and really pay it forward because I believe in humanity. I want us to have a future. I'm in love with the creativity and the beauty that our species has put forward. And I want human liberty. I want freedom. And I don't want scam artists running everything because they are shuttered mentally. We're going to go to more of your calls. People are holding. We're going to get to CJ and Michael and then Cindy and Mark and Lauren and everybody. We're going to get to everybody coming up. But I need to start getting to some of this news right now. I covered this some yesterday. But it makes me so angry to know people high up in MTV who in the mid-90s were told, we're going to take the most destructive gangster culture and we're going to first deploy it into the black community and then we're going to deploy it into all the other communities to basically destroy people. And KRS-One, Professor Griff, they've all spoken about it as black men, successful artists. But the folks I've talked to from multiple angles are white. And they were there and wouldn't be part of it. Okay? But the point is that this is scientific. When Bill Maher gets up and says Obama needs to be more gangsterish and pull out guns on people, but he's for banning citizens having guns. He just wants people illegally as gangbangers having guns. And black gangbangers and rap people killing each other because that's what a man does. No, that's not what a man does. A man stays with their wife and raises their family, or at least tries to take care of their family. And to know that this has been deployed, and to know Bill Maher says he wants more abortion, and to know that we've found more liberals on tape now, including black people, saying let's get rid of black people, to see stuff like this while they lecture those of us that are against socialism. See, Obamacare is bad because it's written by the insurance companies to force us into government eugenics health care. That's why it's bad, not because Obama's black. And it makes me angry. They know full well people don't like socialism because they know how horrible it is. They know full well it isn't because they hate black people. What does that even have to do with it? It's like saying I don't like, orange juice. You say, well, that means you don't like Japanese people. And you're like, what does that have to do with it? They inject this in there and shove it in there. And then all the public is conversant in is race and group stuff and what group they identify with. And I'm so sick of it. It's all part of this hollowness. And then I see Michael Moore put out videos where they talk about ripping Mitt Romney's genitals off and this latest thing from last Friday night with Bill Maher saying, black people are going to come after white people if Obama doesn't win, implying that if Obama loses, it's election fraud. Hey, Bill Maher, why don't you talk about how there's election fraud in black box systems across the board? Instead of always doing this, and I happen to know people that know Bill Maher very well. He is a horrible person. He is a self-centered pig, and I predict his downfall just like Lance Armstrong. You got God to deal with, buddy. But and we're going to do some reports on him when he says he loves death and loves abortion. These are sick people, and they make me so angry because these are the people that are going to hold back humanity, and I'm tired of them. I'm tired of them sowing the seeds of our destruction so they can play the part of the good guy referee while they're selling the gangster culture. We got a bunch of clips together. We're going to do a report soon. David Ortiz wants to do it with all of his different clips, just, saying black should be gangbangers, black should be vicious, black should be, again, that was done to destroy black communities, kind of the cherry on top. And it makes me sick. You know what? If some people see that and they think it's license, I will guarantee you, with 3 million listeners a day conservatively, if I got up on air and I said, go attack a certain group, I guarantee you people would go out and attack. That's just the way it is. Everybody's got unstable viewers and listeners. And that guy, they air it over and over again, has probably 10 million viewers in a week. Not even a million watch it when it first airs, but they aired that thing over and over again. I've looked at the numbers. Probably 10 million viewers worldwide, probably 5 million of them, guesstimation. I've seen the numbers before, domestically. Wow, what happens if Romney wins by hook or by crook or whatever? White people deserve to be attacked? Because black people know you're white and know you did it? I mean, that is crazy. And this is something that's taught by the new Black Panther Party leaders down in Houston. I've seen them on the news say, don't mug in the black neighborhood, go mug in the white neighborhood. How about don't mug anywhere? You see, this is so crazy. And this is meant to get whites and blacks scared of each other. That's what that sick pimp is doing. That's what he's doing, is to destroy unity, and where better to do it but from a fake liberal perspective. Bill Maher is a disgusting pig and ought to be wearing a swastika armband, because that's the type of stuff Nazis did.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
The magic of this blue planet spinning through space. And we're busy focusing on a bunch of crooks that have seized our society, who tell us the collective is where the power comes from, not from the individual. All right. Next hour is coming up. I'll go right to your calls in the news. Finishing up, since I mentioned it, there's a bunch of these clips. We're getting a whole bunch of them together right now for the nightly news tonight and tomorrow night, just to document this. Here's the Michael Moore video, part of it, where the woman says we're going to burn this MFer down. And then they cut to the guy in Spanish saying, yes, we can. This is Michael Moore. Burn things down if Mitt Romney gets elected. It's fraud. The issue is it goes on and on. Speaking of election coverage, you can go to Infowars.com and click on the Infowars Covers Puppet Election Live. The video feed that's normally for PrisonPlanet.tv subscribers, it's free right now. The nightly news tonight, all of it in that box. You click on the big banners at the top. The puppet show at the top of Infowars, we put a special background up. It takes you to the feed where you can find the video players. Please email this to your friends and family. Please tweet this out to everyone you know. Also for the election, government can't and won't protect you. That's been proven. Let's get prepared ourselves this election. Let's decide to get high-quality water filtration and stop drinking the city tap water. You can even get fluoride filters that go with it if you want to order those. With the ProPure, we already have the lowest price with 10% off, ladies and gentlemen. Well, if you go to InfoWarsStore.com and type in for the election, Water 15, it's not the normal 10% off that's the lowest price anywhere. It's 15% off. We're going to run that until Friday. And we have that promo code, Water15, along with some other promo code coupons posted in the Listen Live section. So you go to PrisonPlanet.com or Infowars.com and just click on the top banner, it says Infowars election coverage, special election coverage. You click on that, and it will take you to the page, or just go to Infowars.com/election, and it will take you there as well. And there are some promo codes right there on the site. But you've heard the callers. More than half the people in New York, New Jersey didn't have water filters, didn't even have things to store water, didn't have extra gas, didn't have food, and thank God other citizens took care of them. But if there is ever a longer crisis, if there's ever a longer problem, we're going to have big problems, obviously, and people need to be prepared. And when you purchase ProPure from us, the other preparedness items at InfoWarsStore.com, it makes the transmission possible, because we're funded by you buying our products and supporting us and our sponsors. We're not like the MSNBC that gets banker bailout money, or how the government takes billions of money and puts it into propaganda and TV shows. No, we're not state-sponsored media. We're people-sponsored media by patriots like you. So InfoWarsStore.com. Right now, let's go back to your calls. CJ in Arizona, then Michael and others. CJ, welcome.
Hello, how you doing, Alex?
Good, sir. Thanks for calling.
Just real quick. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm a longtime listener. We talked about the Hurricane Katrina, or I'm sorry, Sandy, but no one ever talked about Plum Island. Isn't that off the coast of Staten Island?
Yes. The good news is it's been partially converted away from zoological, but whatever they're doing is classified. But, yeah, right off the coast of New York/New Jersey is Plum Island Biological Weapons Research Facility.
Yeah, because one of my guys that is from New York and has family from New York was saying they call that Anthrax Island. So I was just seeing if you would touch on that a little bit.
It's been confirmed by a lot of mainline scientific reports that Lyme's disease is really a weaponized form of tick-borne syphilis. And the top Nazi that they brought over in Operation Paperclip in the rat line, the general, people can, this is mainline news, you can look it up. He developed and weaponized it there on the island. The deer then swam the mile or so over, deer are known to do that, and got over to the mainland. That's the problem with level 4 bioweapons labs now being built all over the U.S., is that this stuff can get out even if the globalists don't intend it to. But every week now there's new declassifications of cities being radiated on purpose and reactors blowing up and it being covered up. I mean, look, we got crazy people running things that love death. And good people always just seem to be blindsided by it because they can't imagine somebody's like that.
Yeah. And I have another question. With any kind of preparation, I'm a single father with 2 kids. It's really hard to prepare. How would you have any ideas of preparing for fallout with children?
What type of fallout, sir?
Like civil unrest, like martial law, anything like that.
Well, you know, Arizona's not perfect because it's arid, but you do have a lot of gun owners there and kind of a frontier spirit still there to a certain extent. I'm not going to analyze your entire area. But I would get the book, Strategic Relocation. I would get the film, Strategic Relocation, because it's not just about relocating. It's about your region, your area, other countries, all broken down. It gets you into the process of thinking about it. I mean, I know all about this stuff, and I'm just now trying to, you know, I've got out to the country, trying to get a deeper well, trying to get some solar in, trying to get everything, you know, rainwater collections in, just basic stuff. But if you don't have a lot of money and things, it's real simple. Firearms, knowing how to use them, having maps in your car, having an escape route. You know, there's a lot of really simple things out there that you can do.
All right, thank you. But I just really wanted to touch on Plum Island and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. God bless. Again, if you do the document cam shot over here for people watching at prisonplanet.tv, another plug here, you get a free citizen rule book, whether the Secure Home, Strategic Relocation, the film that just came out, that we're now shipping this week. We're going to premiere that Thursday night on InfoWars Nightly News, all 2 hours plus. It's got extras on securing your home. I mean, it's just invaluable, absolutely invaluable information that everybody needs to have. And so it's a win-win. You get information you need. You also support the transmission and the work we're doing here. And every order, again, gets a free citizen rule book. When you get Strategic Relocation, the film or the book. But, the film has some things in it that aren't in the book. The book has some things in it that aren't in the film. The two go together like a horse and carriage. So it's all there at InfoWarsStore.com. And I should give the number out. Earlier, I didn't give the number out. I was talking about ProPure, and you can get 15% off now with the promo code WATER15. Was 10%. That's hardly the lowest price anywhere. 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139. Or you can, again, just go to InfoWarsStore.com. Okay, we're going to come back. Boom, boom, boom. Go to your calls. Michael and others that are patiently holding, and we will continue to break down the big spectacle. It's election fraud, and we're going to burn things down and riot. You now have Michael Moore pushing this and calling for this. You now have Slimeball Matthews pushing that there's, that it's fraud if Obama isn't elected. The George Soros type groups out there. You've now got Bill Maher saying black people are going to hunt down white folks and get them, which is just ridiculous. It's just so over the top. you know, that little pencil neck up there on TV trying to say, be gangster. It's so condescending. It's so racist is what it is. And I'm just so tired of it. He'll need to wake up to the hoax that's going on with the Democratic Party. I'm not saying the Republican Party likes you either. Doesn't like anybody. At the top, it's a bunch of globalists as well, but it's two different gangs that have the same goals. They just got to act like they're different enough to be able to get people to vote for them. So we're going to be taking your calls, and then I'm going to get into a story that's up at drudgereport.com. It's a naturalnews.com story. Baltimore announces citywide surveillance rollout of the records of passengers' conversations. And again, it records passengers' conversations on city buses. We're going to be breaking some of that down. Also, Debka file, Israel warplanes fly over Golan as Hezbollah fighters pour into Syria. And I went and looked into this. It is true that a lot of Hezbollah are coming out of Lebanon now into Syria, and Hezbollah is basically run by Iran. So that proxy war is just going haywire. We're going to be breaking down the latest on the election and the polls as well. But let's go to your phone calls right now. Michael in Canada, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for taking my call. A long-time listener, first-time caller. Kind of a pretty good intro into what I was going to talk today about, which is this election stuff with what I see as the scripting that's been going on with all this race baiting and stuff. Imagine a closely contested election with the UN observers stepping forward, pointing out election fraud, and then all these riots begin to start down there, and all of a sudden the election results are going to be suspended. Martial law is imposed, and what a great cover for a financial collapse or an attack on Iran.
I'll tell you this, they always, the globalists, this has been proven over and over again with declassifications, they always have plans where if something starts happening on its own, they capitalize on it. That's what Rahm Emanuel famously said. Guys, you cue that up. I think we have it saved. It's on C-SPAN. It's like 20 seconds. Don't let a good crisis go to waste. He also said it to the Wall Street Journal. There's video from them, too. He said it repeatedly. But yeah, they always have contingency plans, dozens of them running, for any contingency, any scenario on how to capitalize, what their focus groups, what their studies, what their NSA snooping shows the public's really thinking versus what they tell pollsters, and how they're going to try to game us. I mean, it's a scientific system we face, but being aware of it is half the battle. It's not unstoppable if people just wake up to it. But I've got to say, it looks like it's in the cards. Doesn't mean they're going to play that card, but you got 5-6 cards in your hand. It's in the fist right now of the establishment to basically activate and have provocateurs or whatever start rioting and burning things down as some type of crisis if the election is contested. Because, yeah, I mean, if Romney just won, I don't think people would riot. But if it's close and it comes out there's fraud and the Supreme Court's going to hear it, Obama told his cousin Odinga to riot so he would get a place in the government, and they created the prime ministership for him. And Webster Tarpley kind of pointed this out in the Obama deception, which is still the preeminent film exposing Obama. It's free online, folks, if you just type in the Obama deception. In fact, I think I'll tweet out the best high-res link of that to folks. But yes, I mean, I'm ranting off of your point, but that's pretty much what I was thinking before the show today, and I never got around to saying it. What do you make of Bill Maher saying black people need to go out and hunt down whites if Romney's elected? What do you make of Michael Moore putting out multiple videos, saying physically attack Romney if he wins, burn things down if Romney wins? I mean, that really is a call for criminal action, and it's not a joke. I mean, this is what we're seeing on Twitter, and then I get criticized when I point it out by globalist media implying I'm racist because I don't want to have racial conflict in this country that could set things back decades.
Well, I think there is an element within the liberal left race-baiting crowd that is drooling at the prospect of an absolutely out-and-out race war in the United States. I think they've been looking for it for a long time. And
no, they said they have. I mean, that's what all of Obama's advisors that came out in trials, Ayers and others said, we're going to implode the economy, pose as saviors, put 50 million people in re-education camps and kill half of them. And now the Army says they have the camps. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, again, from the perspective of the sort of New World Order types, they would ritually want to have America destroy itself. And hence you've had the production moved offshore because if they want to maintain it, they've got to get it out of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, look, America was not perfect, but we were the example of freedom. 4% of the population had half the wealth, the biggest middle class the world had ever seen, an example that countries had to live up to. The communist countries couldn't produce 1/10, and so they brought in globalism to wreck us, to take our jobs and ship them to authoritarian nations to make authoritarianism the model. And so China and Singapore and other tyrannies, they admit, are now the models. I open up Time Magazine, I open up Wall Street Journal, I open up, I'm thinking of things I've read in the last year, I open up National Geographic, and they call it the Singapore model, which is really the kind of the Chinese authoritarian model with a British-style overlay. And that's where they want to go. And let me tell you, it isn't a nice place. God bless you. I appreciate your call. Let's go to another caller here. Yeah, great points he just made. Who's been holding the longest here? Let's talk to Cindy in Ohio. Welcome, Cindy.
Hello?
Hey, Cindy.
Alex, long-time listener, first-time caller, and I admire your courage, your stamina, and your wife for giving you the space to do this. Anyway, I'm sort of a storm victim. Power went out here. I just got back from a hotel for a week. I'm in North Olmsted, a suburb of Cleveland, and I've lived here all my life, and it wasn't that bad. And the fact that I think it was up to 500,000 people without power for an extended period of time is very suspicious to me. And because I'm aware of HARP and all of those things, I knew this was coming. We are a swing state after all. Do I sound nervous?
No, ma'am. You sound great.
Okay. So I was prepared. I got a hotel room and all that. And just got back today, was gone for almost a week. And the interesting thing is this. What happened with the state of Ohio is we sent out CEI, Ohio Edison, workers to help New Jersey. So we didn't have anyone here. And I was at the Holiday Inn, and a big shout-out for them. They were wonderful. They didn't raise rates. They reduced rates. And while I was there, it was filled with electrical workers shipped in from Colorado. Now, look at a map. How far is Colorado from Ohio? Colorado is also a swing state. And I'm not sure how that works as far as counting voters and all of that, but it seems very unusual to me that they would haul into Ohio all these people from Colorado. You know, there's Indiana, there's Illinois, there's, plenty of states closer. Isn't that interesting?
Well, a lot of it is Colorado has dealt with a lot of natural disasters. I mean, that could be one of the reasons. I don't know, though. That's something we should look into.
Wish you would. And while I've got you on the phone, one quick point, and I'm glad I got through to tell you this because I hear you talking about HARP and all that, and you may not know this. There's a company, it's a multinational called Bay Systems, BAE. I know you've heard of them. They bought the HARP patents, and have your people look this up. And they have their headquarters located now, this is like within the past 2 years, in Saudi Arabia. So in Saudi Arabia now are housed the patents for the HARP project.
Well, I knew that there are literally hundreds of patents dealing with weather modification, well, really probably thousands, but dozens and dozens from the Eastman Corporation that originally developed the HARP program really 50 years ago or so. But thank you so much for your points. Again, we're going to continue tracking the election. We're going to continue taking your phone calls. I want to get into some Big Brother news here in a moment. Here is a quote. Henry Kissinger, an address to the Bilderberg Organization meeting in Evian, France, May 21st, 1991, transcribed from the tape recording made by one of the Swiss delegates. Henry Kissinger, today Americans would be outraged if UN troops entered Los Angeles to restore order. Tomorrow they will be grateful. This is especially true if they were told there was an outside threat from beyond, whether real or promulgated, that threatened our very existence. It is then that all peoples of the world will pledge with world leaders and will plead with world leaders to deliver them from this evil. The one thing every man fears is the unknown. When presented with the scenarios, individual rights will be willingly relinquished for the guarantee of their free will, with the guarantee of their well-being granted them by their world government. You see, they have sold to the general public that as they get poorer and poorer, that it's wealth that's bad, that it's freedom that's bad. when what's bad is insider crony monopolies stealing the wealth through government and regulation while shutting down people that want to produce and have ideas. I want a level playing field. I want to encourage strong individualism. And that's what creates wealth. Since we got big government in the last 50 years, we've gone from having half the world's wealth and being 4% of the population of the world. Out of 100, we were 1, 2, 3, 4. 4%, not even 10%. And we had more than half the wealth. Now it's down to like 25 to 30%, depending on which number you look at. Half our wealth is gone. And it's going to get worse. It's all designed. All by design to reduce us to absolute serfdom and slavery. If we ever allow private banks to take control of the issuance and control of currency, our children will wake up homeless on the continent our forebears conquered. That's Thomas Jefferson. And 1913, guess who's been running the show for 99 years? About to be 100. Time to get rid of these boys. Time to arrest them. Or you can keep going down the road, because, see, these aren't just people that want to run everything. They want to run your body. They like putting stuff in your body, and they like killing you. That's their instinct, is a will to total domination. And you know what? I don't like it. I don't like the world they build. They're ugly. New World Order's ugly, and I don't like them. And I want to wake people up and defeat them and move humanity back in the right direction. Doesn't mean we've got all the answers. Doesn't mean we're offering some utopia. But we know where they're taking us is hell. I'll take just a normal system over dystopia. I'm not offering utopia, but I know we can get away from this dystopic reality. Let's go to some phone calls here, and then I'll come back with news and more calls. Lauren in New York, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
How you doing, Alex?
I'm all right, sir.
From New York. Here's the thing. Here's my take on this, and I'm going to let you break it down. Obama, the thing is with Obama, we all know he's a Marxist. He has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. He has ties to every Muslim down there in Libya. He had ties to his cousin over there, like you were saying, I believe just today. He has ties to his cousin over there who is a Muslim. So we need to really evaluate ourselves as American people. Now, at the end of the day, I don't have anything against Muslims, but this guy is the worst type of Muslim. He's one of those guys. I don't understand. He doesn't factor in his skin color at all, because he let Al-Qaeda kill black people in wholesale in Libya. I don't understand how.
And by the way, I predicted it. Webster Tarpley predicted it in the Obama deception. That's what freaks me out. Tarpley says Romney's going to be worse, and I'm just desperate. I'm like somebody. I was thinking this morning when I was swimming down about 20 feet under the water in the river. I went for an exercise, a mile swim. Didn't have time to swim 2 miles. Point is, I went down. Usually I go down 25, 30 feet sometimes in some of the deeper areas. But I went down at only about 20 feet and kind of didn't have a good breath of air, and I wanted to get up to the top. And I likened it to that. Wanting to get out of this New World Order is like someone who's underwater who just wants oxygen. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't understand how Romney could be worse than that. I mean, black people were killed in wholesale in Libya. Cleansed. How could Romney be worse than that? I can't see it.
Well, again, I mean it's the illusion that we all buy into. Even if we know it's an illusion, we're like a man in the desert. Either somebody underwater that wants oxygen, even if they're not sure there's air up there, you go up, you're trying to get to it. And it's the same thing with people somewhere like the United States. I mean, we just want to believe that a president will come in and stop trying to wage war on us. But that's what they want. They want to bankrupt us to dominate us. I mean, in the old days, they just come in and you know, carpet bomb your entire city to take you over. And so this is 21st century war. It's cultural war. It's chemical war. It's biological war. It's spiritual war. But, yeah, I mean, Obama is super bad news. But, hey, these aren't wars he's launching because he got a peace prize. These are peace actions. Who do you think's going to win tomorrow?
I don't care. I just want this country to change. I want these people in jail.
Exactly. And that's the only reason I thought Romney might get in, is just people are hitting the reset button desperately. But there's so many people that are dependent now, they think Obama you know, is really giving them a free lunch. And help us get that link out to everybody. Say, hey, you want to see real election coverage from all the angles, pointing out how both groups are basically mafias fighting for control of the CEO job of Slavery Incorporated? Well, that's what we're dealing with. Again, these are mega banks using communist tactics to make us communalized and all on the plantation while they're exempt internationally from it all. See, it's really fascist is the best term, using socialist and communist authoritarian systems on the public to make you dependent. You want to domesticate somebody, you've got to give them a little bit of chicken feed. And that's what's happening here. And it's very, very sad that they've deindustrialized us. Now they know that massive numbers, some estimates are 20% of doctors are retiring earlier because they don't want to be under government health care. They don't want to be under the mandates. They've got the federal government coming in with state governments taking over healthcare institutions everywhere. And as long as you do what they say, you can do whatever you want. You can have little kids die from vaccines. You can grab people's kids. You can have the place filthy and people dying of infections. You can rip people off, but you don't play ball with them, you're going to jail. And now your health records go to the IRS so they can pass that around the government, everything that's gone on in your life. You think the IRS had enemies list before. I think the FBI used income tax stuff before. All of this is about criminals in government stacking the deck against the people. And Rahm Emanuel's a monster. You can pull clips of him up on C-SPAN, but also in speeches saying everyone will do 18 months of service in your junior and senior year of high school. And then each summer after that, from 18 to 54, you will go and be part of Brigade Homeland. And then now they have FEMA Corps. It's now been officially set up. And it's anti-gun groups marching around and spying on people and getting in people's faces. And it's just pushing government and tattletaling. And these people that are part of this, because I've seen them on the streets, they are literally like little TSA agents. And they're going to be the little Chivanos that Tony Montana talks about, the fictional character based on historical events in Scarface, written by Oliver Stone. And he's trying to get into the U.S. to get amnesty. And, you know, he's saying, I'm a political dissident. I want my rights, just like President Jimmy Carter says. And the guy says, you know what, send him to Freedom Town. He goes, hey, there's nothing you can do to me that Castro has not already done. And he goes, you want to eat squid 3-4 times a day? You want somebody telling you when to get up, when to go to sleep, when to go to work, what to wear, what to do? You want a Chivano on every corner telling you, you know, watching your every move? That's what we're going under. I mean, it's like if you said black Cadillac. Everybody knows what a black Cadillac looks like. Well, this is tyranny. It's like saying yellow school bus. Everybody knows what a yellow school bus looks like. If you have any basic understanding, like I say great white shark, you see a great white shark. If I say red bicycle, you see a red bicycle. If I say Abraham Lincoln, you see an image of Abraham Lincoln. But people don't seem to understand, or if they do, they don't understand how dangerous it is. This is tyranny, enslavement, bad, very bad. People are like, well, what does that look like? Well, it looks like what we're now midway into. And with the tyranny, they bring tyrannies in when they decide to make you poor as a tool of control. See, a lot of people say, I don't care if there's tyranny, I'm going to go along with it. Oh, you are? You don't seem to understand historically there are really bad people who like to hurt people, who like to destroy wealth, who like to take what you got, who enjoy it. Things that normal people aren't into, the legion of evil is into. You see, governments become these artificial constructs where really corrupt, bad people can have their way with the general population. Government becomes kingdoms where people that really can't produce anything but can socially get in and compete to be more manipulative, more corrupt, more scheming, and then it becomes a survival of the fittest of the worst who then rise to the top and take over. The city of Austin, who I've pointed out as a group of criminals, the city council by and large is just absolutely larcenous. They have gotten in trouble with the county attorney for a decade of having their meetings in secret and giving their friends and family giant contracts. I mean, it's a giant scam. I personally have gone and looked at contracts. I personally have done investigations that have sent people to prison. Just look it up. And it's openly criminal. And because citizens blew the whistle, what did the county attorney do? They said, well, you're not in trouble this time, but don't do it anymore. I was on the hike and bike trail yesterday, and I'm sitting there stretching, and my wife's already gone down the gully with the French bulldog. And I'm like, I want to stretch. She goes, I'm going to run to the bottom. I'll see you down there. And so she starts going, and I watch this group come up, and I'm sitting there stretching over to the side, and I hear them going, we're going to get more funding. We'll get the revenue this way. We'll swap that. And they're like, shh, shh. Oh, there's somebody over there. And I kind of had my back slightly turned, and I could tell they were city people. So I waited until they started walking down. I started walking behind them, listening to them. Later, they're coming back, and we're down by the creek, like an hour later. And they're over there, and they're in the woods meeting in secret. And I don't know who they were or what department, but I went and eavesdropped on enough that they were having an illegal meeting in the woods. I mean, folks, this is how widespread this is. I cannot go on a hike and bike trail where in an hour and a half I might have seen 15 people to go climb up and down the hills and things. And there's literally bureaucrats meeting in the woods in secret. And then they saw me creeping over. They're like, shh, oh, he's listening. Let's go. And they kind of scurried off on down the deal, having a secret meeting. They were bureaucrats, you could tell. And they were talking about the city and how they're going to get more money. Guys, search money in the UT Permanent Fund. Last time I checked, it was $4 billion in cash, $1.5 billion in gold. Their real estate was valued at over $100 billion. And their investments, their CAFR investments, comprehensive annual financial reports investments, were at $400 billion. So I don't know how much money that is. You do the math. But the University of Texas is the richest university in the world. They charge more tuition, more to park, more. It's not even a university. It's a facade for a crime syndicate. And they want $290-something per household over the next 10 years, every year, to pay for a new university medical center when they literally own half the state of Texas. But all the public knows about is the $4 billion permanent fund and the $1.5 billion in gold and other stuff. You look at the real estate, you look at the comprehensive annual financial report. I mean, you heard me, hundreds of billions. It was over $400 billion years ago when I looked it up. They've got well in excess of $500 billion in assets one way or another. Let's be conservative. And they want to set the precedent. And they've got all these idiot signs up around where I live. This is happening in your town, too, with a big heart saying, love Austin, vote for Prop 1. And I've seen polls where almost everybody's against it. It'll probably pass because they're electronic voting fraud. We're run by a mafia. Here, I'll look it up. UT Permanent Fund. That's just the one little thing they tell you about. University of Texas Permanent Fund. How much does it say is in there? Yeah, that's $12.8 billion. Yeah, that's a total that's much more than that. The point is that you just type in, they bought $1 billion of gold last year. They already had $500 million. You people are a bunch of lunatic crooks, okay? And I've had enough of you. And the people don't care as long as they can wear a UT shirt. That's their tribe. That's their future, to be milked by these people. And every water district, every school district, everything, over 70% of their money is in private offshore funds, which are public, but no one seems to care. And they talk about how we got to raise taxes all day or we'll have to lay off cops. Give me a break. The truth is, the industrial society created fabulous wealth beyond anyone's imaginations, and they don't want the public becoming empowered because you become uppity. David in Arizona, finish your story real quick about, let me guess, the Border Patrol NSA station is just used to harass citizens and illegal aliens or God?
Oh, and anybody coming through Tombstone. And they're all Department of Homeland Security vehicles, and we've seen them in strange places. We've seen the drone aircraft. Fort Huachuca has an internment camp just waiting. I've talked to officers that are over there. It's empty. It can hold up to 15,000 people. And that's at Fort Huachuca.
No, it's in the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program, the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, the Model States Health Emergency Powers Act, the Emergency Centers Establishment Act. I mean, this has all been announced. It's in the Army manuals. I've given the codes. People are like, oh, come on. It's a rumor, and it's all right there. The proof of a criminal, lawless, evil government. Does that mean everybody that works for it is bad? No. We're all under attack together. But we've got to admit it's evil or it's going to be able to take over. So finish your point.
And see that they can go to GoArmy.com and see that they're hiring for people to work in those camps.
No, it says internment specialist in the U.S., how to process us with our Social Security numbers. It's all there. I appreciate your call. I guess that's your point on that. Look at these stacks of news. Baltimore announces citywide surveillance rollout that records passengers' conversations on city buses. And they go on to say that, yeah, they're going to make you feel safe by watching what you say. And they've got AI computers listening to what you do, just like the schools. You know, have the laptops at home watching the kids. I mean, it's beyond 1984. PA pupils to wear tracking devices in the school to track who they talk to and what they do to save everyone from the flu. That's Fox New York. This is all a total takeover. New Jersey contracted RFID evacuate tracking tech just days before Sandy formed. That's an Aaron Dykes article. Synthetic biologists cloned children, handicapped genes right around the corner where the government's going to say, well, you're allowed to have a kid, but we've got to certify that they don't have any type of illness. Yeah, that camera looks pretty good, guys. You probably want to boost the iris up a little bit. It's a little bit low. I was going to direct you when I went over there to hit that. I'm just trying to fine tweak things. I'm not really directing here. I told them I wanted to do some of the special election coverage in here tomorrow after the radio show, and then go to our reporters for their take in the other TV studio back and forth. And then that way we can also go to reporters on the streets. So when I get off the air here, I'm going to go find out if all the new wireless equipment we've had for a year is all tested and ready to roll tomorrow. A lot of excitement there. But getting back to this, here, synthetic biologists clone children, handicapped genes, or hand-picking genes to knock out, quote, the handicaps. That is right around the corner. Man, I am the king of flipping words around today. But it's all integrated into the same thing. Monsanto-funded anti-GMO labeling campaign gets away with impersonating government agencies, Anthony Giuliardi. And, yeah, they're putting out ads saying the government says that, you know, you don't need non-GMO and putting the FDA seal on it. And then, meanwhile, they are all getting away with that. By the way, I saw an article today. I need to give him a call. I haven't called him in a while. Charlie Sheen, God love him. I've known him for 8 years. I knew him back when he wasn't on drugs, a really smart guy, and he's had a lot of trouble, gone through a lot. But I know his mother, I know his father. They eat only organic food. At Charlie's house, there's only organic food. And Charlie put a tweet out today saying, hey, he supports Prop 37 to be able to see what's in the food. And they had news articles attack him and say, oh, look at this guy, this drug addict, you know, this guy. You know, who cares what you say? You know, it's crazy to want to label food. Just amazing. You know what? Even though Charlie has some problems, he's a lot smarter than people that don't want to be able to know what's in their food. You know, to know if it's got bug genes mixed with the corn, or if the corn's growing its own pesticides so bugs can't eat it, but we're supposedly safe to eat it. You know what I mean? All right. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.